Fifth, have you ever wondered how a country can transform from a fragmented empire, struggling against foreign powers, into a global superpower in just over a century? This is the story of China. A story of collapse, revolution, war, and one of the most astonishing economic miracles in human history. Buckle up, because we're about to journey through 120 years of epic change in just 10 minutes. Our story begins in the year 1900. China was ruled by the Qing Dynasty, the last imperial dynasty, but it was a shadow of its former self. Years of internal corruption and pressure from foreign powers had left it weak and vulnerable. This frustration boiled over in the Boxer Rebellion, a fierce uprising against foreign influence that was ultimately crushed. The writing was on the wall. The ways were failing. 1911, the Xinhai Revolution, led by visionaries like Sun Yat-sen, erupted across the country. After more than 2,000 years of emperors and dynasties, the imperial system crumbled. The Republic of China was born, but the path to a stable, modern nation was far from clear. With the emperor gone, a power vacuum emerged. Instead of a unified republic, China fractured into territories controlled by powerful military leaders, known as warlords. This warlord era, from 1912 to the late 1920s, was a time of chaos and constant conflict. Sun Yat-sen and his nationalist party, the Kuomintang, struggled to reunite the country. Meanwhile, new ideas were taking root, too, inspired by the Russian Revolution. A small group of intellectuals gathered in Shanghai in 1921. They founded the Communist Party of China, or CPC, an event that would change the course of Chinese and world history forever. The nationalists, under Chiang Kai-shek, and the burgeoning Communist Party, led by figures like Mao Zedong, initially formed a fragile alliance to defeat the warlords, but their ideologies were fundamentally opposed. By 1927, this alliance shattered, plunging China into a brutal civil war. As the nationalists and communists fought for control, a greater threat loomed. In 1937, the Empire of Japan launched a full-scale invasion, beginning the Second Sino-Japanese War, which became a major theater of World War II. For a time, the Civil War was put on hold as both sides formed a united front to resist the Japanese invasion. During this grueling 8-year war, the Communists, with their focus on guerrilla tactics and land reform for peasants, gained significant popular support. Once Japan was defeated in 1945, the Civil War resumed with renewed intensity. After 4 more years of fighting, the Communists emerged victorious. 1949, from atop the Gate of Heavenly Peace in Beijing, Mao Zedong proclaimed the founding of the People's Republic of China. Chiang Kai-shek and the nationalists fled to the island of Taiwan. The Mao era, from 1949 to 1976, was a period of radical transformation and immense turmoil. The new government immediately implemented sweeping land reforms, redistributing land from landlords to peasants. Then came collectivization, where private farms were merged into large state-run communes. In 1958, Mao launched the Great Leap Forward, an ambitious and disastrous campaign to rapidly industrialize the country and surpass Western nations in steel production. This policy led to one of the worst famines in history. Then, in 1966, fearing a loss of revolutionary spirit, Mao unleashed the Cultural Revolution. Wars, a decade-long period of social and political upheaval aimed at purging counter-revolutionary elements and traditional culture. Millions of young people, known as the Red Guards, were mobilized to enforce Mao's ideology, leading to widespread chaos and destruction. The era of intense ideological campaigns finally came to an end, with Mao's death in 1976. After Mao's death, China was at a crossroads. The country was isolated and its economy was in ruins. The man who would steer it in a new direction was Deng Xiaoping. Although a veteran of the revolution, Deng was a pragmatist. Starting in 1978, he initiated a series of groundbreaking economic policies known as reform and opening up. He famously said, "It doesn't matter if a cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice." Under his leadership, China cautiously embraced market principles. Private businesses were allowed, foreign investment was welcomed, and special economic zones were created. Places like Shenzhen, once a small fishing village, were transformed into bustling manufacturing hubs. This shift unleashed decades of explosive economic growth. But this economic opening did not come with political liberalization. Nay. In the spring of 1989, large-scale pro-democracy protests, centered in Beijing's Tiananmen Square, were met with a forceful and violent government crackdown. A stark reminder of the party's absolute control. By the year 2000, however, China's economic rise was undeniable. Entering the 21st century, China's integration into the global system accelerated. A major milestone was its entry into the World Trade Organization in 2001, which turbocharged its export-driven economy. The skylines of cities like Shanghai and Beijing shot upwards, becoming symbols of the new China. Technological innovation boomed, with Chinese companies becoming global leaders in e-commerce, social media, and telecommunications. In 2013, under the leadership of Xi Jinping, China launched the Belt and Road Initiative, a colossal global infrastructure project designed to expand its economic and political influence across Asia, Africa, and Europe. Today, China stands as the world's second-largest economy, a technological powerhouse, and a major player on the world stage. It faces the immense challenge of balancing this incredible growth with pressing social, environmental, and political questions, all under the firm guidance of the Communist Party. From a crumbling empire to a global superpower, China's journey over the last century has been nothing short of extraordinary, and its story is still being written. Thank you so much for joining us on this rapid journey through modern Chinese history. If you found this interesting, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. We'll see you next time.